So hi guys, Rahul this side on behalf of Revsportz, and alongside me Snehashish, and we have just witnessed history because East Bengal, they are the champions of the Indian Super League for the very first time, and also after 22 years finally they own a major trophy in Indian football. Of course they have won Super Cup a couple of years ago, but first time they have won the league, major league in Indian football after 22 years. Finally the wait is over. Of course historic moment for East Bengal and their fans, and also at the aim of this victory, obviously East Bengal head coach Oscar Bruzo, it totally transformed the team. But we are here at the VIBK because we came here to cover the Mohun Bagan game, but at the Kishore Bharati Kirangan there were Ogni and Somnath. But we should first of all talk about tonight's game between Mohun Bagan and Sporting Club Delhi. How dramatic it was. I mean 4 games started at the same time. East Bengal, they went behind when fans at VIBK suddenly erupted in joy, but then again East Bengal made a great comeback, and Mohun Bagan also ultimately they made a comeback. Even we saw that McLean and other players, they started celebrating without knowing that it's East Bengal who finally sealed the title. So just describe those moments.
Yes, absolutely. I think first of all, huge congratulations to East Bengal team and the fans. I think the long wait of 22 years finally have come to an end. So huge congratulations on that. But see, I think for Mohun Bagan, I think the only thing that the positive, I think that they ended the season with a win. I think that is a positive, and obviously at the end of the day it's the goal difference that made the difference, right? The ultimate difference, the goal difference, because both East Bengal and Mohun Bagan ended up with the same number of points. But if you see the quality of the game play, I think Mohun Bagan, I think there are so many missed chances. I think they created a lot of chances, but again throughout the campaign, again and again we have seen that top quality players missing to convert those chances. True. I think today it was again the same thing. I think in the first half itself, Mohun Bagan should have scored 3 or 4 goals. Obviously Delhi also had a chance, because today if you see the formation that Mohun Bagan opted for, 3-5-2 with 3 defenders, we all expected the team will be ultra aggressive, and that is only their motto, because they knew they have to score goals, otherwise there is no chance to become the champions. So they went for that, and that is why maybe Delhi got so many chances. But still, if you ask me, still Mohun Bagan should have scored 3 or 4 goals easily in the first half. But then, as you mentioned, despite not scoring in the first half, when I think the crowd got to know that Inteka Shep scored there, I think they rode up. I think the message was then translated to the players also, that okay, the result is now in favor of us as of now, so let's try to score at least 1 or 2 goals and let's seal this game and let's see what happens. But unfortunately, again at the start of the second half also we saw the urgency was there. I will not say in the second half the urgency was not there. They were trying their hard, but somehow the goal, they are not being able to break the deadlock. And when they did that, I think it was too late, because East Bengal staged an excellent comeback in the second half. At the start of the second half they scored that equalizer 1-1, and then the second goal from I think Rashid it was. So yeah, it's 2-1. But I think the Mohun Bagan players were unknown of that. I think when JB McLean scored that goal in the injury time, he celebrated opening his t-shirt and all. What we think that maybe they were unknown. They thought, okay, we have scored the winning goal, we have sealed the league maybe, because what we think that maybe at the half time they got the message, okay, they were trailing, so if we win the match we can seal the league. But again after the match, I think when they got to know that the game is done and dusted by East Bengal, then they are the new champions of ISL. So I think they were quite disappointed, because so many players were seen standing there disappointed, and is expected because for the last 2 years they have been so much dominant in Indian football. And see, ultimately, as I mentioned, same points, only the goal difference, so near yet so far for Mohun Bagan.
Exactly. I mean, just imagine how close this truncated season was. I mean, at the end of the league, it is the goal difference, the goal difference between East Bengal and Mohun Bagan, which finally decided the champion of the league. Both Mohun Bagan and East Bengal finishing on the same points. So it shows that again that rivalry, that age-old rivalry between East Bengal and Mohun Bagan is back on Indian football. In the last 4 to 5 years we have seen there's a big gap between these two arch rivals, but this season that gap has been totally breached by East Bengal, and obviously we'll have to give credit to their head coach Oscar Bruzo. We don't know whether he will change his mind or not, because he already announced that he will leave the club by the end of this season, that his contract ends 30th of May. So we still don't know whether he will change his decision or not, but obviously I think it will be difficult for the fans to accept the fact that Oscar Bruzo, who totally transformed East Bengal in one season, that he is going to leave the club. We don't know actually whether management will again sit with him and convince him. We still don't know, but hopefully I think the best decision for Oscar Bruzo will be to change his mind and stay with
at
East
least
Bengal.
for one season.
Exactly. I mean, suppose if he leaves the club, not only he will leave, but along with him the foreigners he brought like Rashid, Miguel Ferreira, I think they will also will like to leave the club, and that I think force East Bengal to again start from the scratch next season. I think that doesn't augurs well for a champion club like East Bengal. But for Mohun Bagan, I think tonight's game sum up the whole season for Mohun Bagan. I mean, missing chances and all, and also Sergio Lobera. Do you think this team has played Super Cup? I mean, the last tournament before ISL under Jose Molina, and then Sergio Lobera took charge once Molina left. Do you think the transition was not that seamless, and that's what affected this team?
I kind of think so, because it was not easy, and for Lobera also, because we have to see that these are not the players that maybe Lobera want in his team. That can happen. I think the next season will give us that answer, that who the new players come, or maybe how many players of this team remains there. So I think, because if you see, this whole team is like from Molina's campaign, right? Molina's era. So I think it was a kind of difficult for any coach, I think, to get the charge of a team where mostly the players are not the way he would like to have, or not the way he would like to have. So I think that was a challenge, but still you have quality players, there is no doubt about that. I think you mentioned me about that. I think Lobera mentioned that before this game, that I don't need to motivate this kind of
everything on the pitch except scoring the goal.
Yes, I think somehow when Mohun Bagan started the campaign, if you see, they were scoring goals
they
like
scored 14 goals in the first 4 games.
Like so easy for them, like they are scoring so easily. But somehow after that they lost the momentum, and despite creating so many chances, they were unable to convert those chances, and that problem prevails throughout the campaign, throughout the remaining part of the campaign. So I think that has been the problem for them. But see, I think Lobera is a very well-renowned coach, well-established coach. He knows the Indian football, has been working in Indian football for a long time now. So I think Mohun Bagan fans should keep faith on him, though we heard some go back slogan or something like that after the game, ahead of the press conference maybe, or before leaving the stadium. But I kind of know that it can happen, because the emotions that East Bengal and Mohun Bagan, or maybe someone like Mohammedan fans carries. Because all these clubs, the heritage clubs, they always think that the only place that their club should be at the top. Doesn't matter you are coming second, third, or what kind of football you are playing. That doesn't matter. You can play ugly football, but if you are getting 3 points and winning the trophy, ultimately that matters. And now Mohun Bagan not only finished in the second, they lost to the arch rivals, East Bengal. So I think that is why maybe the Mohun Bagan supporters are a little bit frustrated. It's completely understandable. But see, you have to always understand it's not easy to to rule the Indian for a consecutive 3 years. 3 years, because ultimately you finish second. You have to see that also.
Your opponents are also there,
Yes. So you have to give credit to the others also, that they have done well maybe in some positions. That is why they have crowned the champions. But overall, with this Mohun Bagan team, I think the Mohun Bagan fans should again believe, and hopefully they can make a grand comeback in the next season.
Absolutely. I think fans, obviously Mohun Bagan fans will be a bit upset because the kind of benchmark this team has set in the last 2 or 3 years, double champions last season and 2 consecutive ISL League Shield winners. So obviously the kind of benchmark they have set, obviously fans will be upset. But just imagine, the points are same, just because of goal difference East Bengal are champion. We won't say that Mohun Bagan dominance is over. We would say that another team now is, who has came close to Mohun Bagan, and that really augurs for Indian football. I mean, we want to see a one-sided league. We always want to see more clubs fighting for the title, for the silverware, throughout the whole league, and that's what happened.
Even today Mumbai won 2-0.
Mumbai was also
they could have won the title.
Exactly.
So it's very good for Indian football.
That's very good for Indian football, especially East Bengal Mohun Bagan rivalry is again alive, and that's the best thing that can happen to Indian football this season. Of course, Mohun Bagan fans will feel upset, but this is East Bengal fans. This is the night for East Bengal fans, especially after long 22 years old. Finally, their dream came true moment for every East Bengal fans. The trophy they have been waiting for so long time. It's ecstatic night for all of them. They should enjoy, they should celebrate, but we need to give credit to some of the East Bengal players. Of course, we have already talked about Oscar Bruzo, but players like Miguel Ferreira, Mohammad Rashid, Anwar Ali, and of course there are a few Indian players like Bipin Singh. Bipin Singh, Kevin CB also in the defense, and also Probe Shukan Gill, because I still believe that crucial save in the dying minutes against Mohun Bagan, I think saved it. I think saved it for East Bengal. So obviously it's a deserving triumph for East Bengal. But now what will be important for Red and Gold Brigade is to sustain this momentum, because the kind of dominance Mohun Bagan has achieved, they built that team for over 3 to 4 years. But now for East Bengal, now they are the champions of the ISL. After finishing, after every time they fail to cross that 9th position in the points table, now they are the champion. Now that will be important for them to sustain this momentum and keep up the pace with the arch rival Mohun Bagan. So that's it for now. What's your thoughts regarding this East Bengal historic triumph? Let us know in the comment section below, and stay tuned to Revsportz for more updates and more celebration visuals of East Bengal fans, and of course the East Bengal team trophy celebration. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned to Revsportz. See you in our next video.